Welcome to the mechatronics track. Engineering, complete and automatic control. We had a pleasure and welcome to the structural optimization of a grid rehabilitation system. This work is presented by Jorge Aponte Rodriguez.
Thank you, Doctor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Correct design applied to the structural optimization system. To follow. Well, there are many methodologies to design a machine. One of the most commonly iterative, the sequential and iterative design process. This is a very useful methodology and works well, but long and probably high cost. To systems that imply highly technological, like the mechatronics systems, where we need to the mechanics, electronic control, and user interface simultaneously to develop the mechatronic the concurrent design process was in 2001, and they proposed can be a very alternative to develop the concurrent design proposed before a scenario. The first scenario is a electron control. The second scenario is the iterative. The third scenario is the design, and the fourth scenario is mainly in the structure design. In this work, we develop our work in the third scenario, in the simulation adjustments. Design can be divided into spaces. The first space is related with the requirement space, and the second space is the structural space. In the first space, we have the hub, and in the second space, we can have that we will have. Each space is subdivided into subspaces. The requirement space, the non-real-time parameters, the works are related with the physical constraints like workspace adjusted in time. The second subspace is the real-time behavior adjusted in time, like the control requirements. Space and non-real-time parameters related basically with the structure that can be adjusted in time. Parameters that basically are related with control parameters. I must remark that the non-real-time parameters or the structural parameters define the accomplishment of the goals proposed in the requirement space and highly influence the real-time parameters control. We propose time guaranteeing the strength, stiffness, useful life, and material selection. We choose the because the wrist is one of the most important joining, because it allows us to perform movements related with the daily living activities like wearing, eating, and many others. The movements that can be performed the wrists are basically related with two axes. The first axis allows the wrist to an extension movement, the radial and ulnar deviation, and the wrist and the hand orientation is influenced by the pronation and supination movement. Affect if the divided temperature, establishing the range of motion for each flexion, extension, radial deviation, pronation, supination, and we established the design requirements and the design torques. To perform the geometric design, we studied the hand geometric based in the Mexican population, taking into account people between 9 and 5 years old. We developed the geometrical design, where here you can see the 3 axes of moment that we established is that to perform a of rehabilitation. Is actuated by the moves here to perform the pronation and supination movements. The second servomotor actuates over this component to perform the abduction and adduction movement, and the third servomotor actuates over this hand to perform the flexion and extension movement. Once the proposal from the structural analysis with a geometrical proposal that I use the execution of the methodology. After we establish the weight, we can determine the load state that is illustrated here, and then we can a stress state. This component preventing flexion and torsion stress. Taking into account that the therapy needs alternatives executed periodically, we take into account to perform our design main objectives: warranty, stiffness. Then we established a maximum deflection. The deflection can be calculated with this expression. We have to guarantee that the components doesn't fail by static load or fatigue load. The equations to guarantee this are shown here. The thing that we take into account was the selection. Here I show a table with a set of materials considered for this design. Therapy, in a physical therapy, the movements are have a amplitude similar amplitudes. Then we need the mid stress as 0, and then we can estimate security factor against failure, as is shown here. And taking this into account, we can propose an optimization problem. The goal is to estimate the goal, or is minimize the component subject to these constraints. The first constraint is related to warranting the stress by static load and fatigue load, related to warranty that of the component. The bounds of these problems are proposed here. The first are the densities of the materials proposed. The third are related with the thickness and width of the component proposed. To solve the problem, we used the differential evolution algorithm that was modified to handle and continuous variables. This implies that the problem is a mixed type because these variables integer type and these variables are continuous type. This algorithm requires tuning a set of parameters that are shown here. The problem proposed was solved. We obtained a vector design that is shown here. Vector design, we do a model elements, the goals proposed are illustrated by the finite element methods. Conclude the results obtained by element finite methods are very similar to the design value proposed for optimization problem. Infinite life too. Here we can see results obtained, but finite elements are similar to the design proposed. We can conclude that the geometrical design and the selection of materials were carried out simultaneously using a concurrent approach over optimization. And the evolution algorithm us to solve the problem. I'm going to solve the problem. This use and now questions.
Well, we thank the presentation. Question?
Besides that analysis that you have made, are there any other interventions in the design of the work, of the geometrical components? Current engineering, I understand that is the areas in the design process and in simultaneous time design that has work.
Yes. In this work, we emphasize the structural design. In this methodology, they propose in the simulation adjustments that we can for component and base it in the performance of the structural component, improve the control component. We take the control into account because which actuated independently can allow us to control easily the system. Consider it in this work because we focus only in structural, but all things were considered.
Thank you. Another question? Well, I have one. Actually, it's not really completely related to this design. Structural design. I wonder about finally. See here, you consider motors and structure of the elements. Also, to integrate some sensors, let's say, because I have been worried, have a kind of already velocity of trajectory profile by the motors, who is just somehow limited on the motion. We have to have like kind of sensor to measure the effort that the person is putting against the motion. It's too much maybe to pause the system or something, because otherwise you may try to turn it and the other person is really having trouble with that.
Yes.
Are you consider some kind of these sensors? Or?
Yes, you are right. We consider first velocity control,
okay,
because it's very important in a therapy rehabilitation. When we studied the study of the state of the art, we choose some words related with to prevent problems that you mentioned. Choose the servo motors. Yeah, motors are very efficient because integrate is necessary to perform a good initial control of velocity. To perform a more advanced control like torque control, there will be next project. Consider the position and velocity control for this.
Thank you. Is there another question? One more.
Thank you very much.
And on behalf of the organizing committee, I have a pleasure to mission for your presentation and your work. Thank you very much.
Okay.